Welcome back to Aligned and Alive. A few years ago, I attended Arash Vasugi's World-Class Wealth event, a room full of high performers, entrepreneurs, and leaders who take growth very seriously. And today's guest was someone I was instantly drawn to at that event because there was a magnetic presence about her. I cannot wait to share her. She is a leadership and mindset coach dedicated to helping individuals unlock their full potential and achieve meaningful growth in all aspects of their lives. So as you can imagine, I am looking forward to this conversation as we share a very similar passion. She is also the host of Exposed Living, Be Ageless. If you're ready to rewrite the rules and live limitless, then you are in the right place. Fresh off the plane from Canada, please welcome the lovely Stacey Vanthuyne. I'm so grateful you made it.
I'm so grateful. Seriously.
Can we tell the audience right now what just happened? She literally just got off the plane, rushed over here in an Uber, gets herself together in like under 5 minutes, and here she is. Like, talk about world class.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't know about that, but we'll come back a little bit done up at a later time. No, you make it easy. You're just like, come to this place, be here. My biggest decision today was, should I take an Uber or a Waymo? Because we don't have them.
Okay, definitely an Uber because I've been in Waymos and things are breaking down. So
okay.
You picked great.
Phew.
My sister, if she heard that question, she'd freak out. Be like, take the Uber. She's always sending me videos on Waymo. So you got here safely and sound. That's all that matters.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I'm going to get rid of these cue cards rather than just the last rapid fire round I have for you. That's it. Because we are on very limited time because Stacey just got off the plane and she has other areas she has to go to. So we'll do a second round of this. But for the sake of really just maximizing our time together,
For sure.
we went back and forth on what can we give the listeners? Like, what's the best value? And we, we're in a similar space. And so we're like, do we talk identity, standards, environment? And she said it so perfectly. And you said,
I said, I think everybody knows what to do. And so we wanted to be authentic and give you something else, not just a typical another podcast about mindset, but really asking yourself a question of, what would I do today if I wasn't afraid of being seen in the process of trying? And Chrissy was like, yeah, that's it. That's us.
It is it. Because when you think about every hurdle, at least when I really reflect on my own life, clients, friends that have the similar, journey, it really comes down to, what are they going to say about us? What if I expose my real authentic self? How much am I going to be judged? Will I be liked? Will I not be liked? Well, so I think that holds a lot of people back from truly showing up, and it's crushing their entire gifts that they were given.
Yeah. And I think it even goes into a state of, well, will this align with my brand? Like, I'm used to having my brand polished. People are used to me coming out this way. And so we know that the only way to do something new is not to be afraid to risk being seen, failing, so to speak, or not getting it right the first time. But yet then we're like, but it's not that perfect mode that we were used to doing. And so at least this is my story. I get caught in this like, well, do I put it out there? Do I just do it now? We were saying, what are those things you need to do? Well, you need to do it now. You need to act before you're ready. You need to stretch your I don't give a damn muscle. But then there's sometimes, I think for myself anyways, where I'm afraid in that trying, it won't live up to this brand and you're trying to exploit where you want to go next. So it is tricky to balance. And I think that that's where we just have to normalize this place of not always knowing and being okay with it. And just trusting that even if it's messy, it's supposed to be that way. And that the outcome that you want will happen. For me, it's just control.
Yeah.
Right.
For most people, I think it's control. And I also think, at least what you just said, you spoke on brand. And that's a word that's been thrown around so much over the last couple of years. And everyone's talking about it, your personal brand, this brand. And it's like, we're human beings.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm kind of over the word brand. We're human beings. And I just feel like just showing up as our authentic selves, and whether it is, maybe mix it up. Maybe sometimes it is polished and it looks great and that's wonderful. And maybe times it's just, you're not you're without sans makeup and your hair done perfectly and you're in a pair of sweats and tennis shoes and really showing what it's like to hustle and travel to get here, to be at a coaching session later this week and just, sit on a podcast. And that's real life stuff. And I think we're finding that more and more people are really sick and tired of perfection. It's like we want to see what really goes on, what it really takes to get to where that next level of growth really is.
All of it. It's interesting when you say authentic, because I remember people saying, just be your authentic you. And I was like, well, who the hell is she? I've worn so many different masks growing up. I'm a mom. I was in corporate. I was an athlete, all these different things. And so even uncovering like, who is your authentic self? Like, who am I? I think to your point, I'm all of those things. So I love it that we can show up messy in our sweats, then polished. And I think that versatility is what is needed more. And, you and I were talking about before we started that I'm a mom of a 17 and a 14-year-old. And my daughters are going through this challenge where they're on the screen. And so they only see perfection. They only see the end product. And I don't believe because of that they are able sometimes to develop the grit that's required to get to that end state. So it's almost like they get stuck in this afraid to go. They'll want something, but they don't want to fail. I talk a lot with Gen X women and men. We look at them and go like, I don't understand why they just can't do it. And then if we really reflect inwards, like there's no difference between them and us.
Right.
And so when I heard that question of like, what would I do today if I wasn't afraid to be seen in the trying? It just hits so much. Like I literally had to put it on my phone. And I'm like, Stacey, don't be afraid to be seen in the trying. That's what everybody wants. Mm-hmm. You and I were talking about what are those kind of 3-step things, and we could share it. But all you have to do is read a book. All you have to do is open up ChatGPT, but that's not enough. You have to have that courage to do it. And for me, that courage is coming with increasing the belief in myself and in my faith that everything is working out for a reason. And that messy part, or even what if people say something, that's just part of the journey that I've got to learn to embrace.
Yes. I love that you brought up courage. I speak a lot on having a mustard seed of courage.
I love it.
Like it's just a mustard seed. If you can just have the littlest, tiniest, mustard seed of courage to press record and say whatever you need to say to help inspire somebody for the day, if that's the space you're in, or maybe it's extending, a hand to somebody that, keeps saying, I don't need help, but you really want to, be there for them, whatever that looks like, right? There's just those barriers that I believe that are self-imposed, that we are prohibiting ourselves from truly connecting with so many people that want to have human connection right now. You posted an Instagram story last week, and I believe it was you were outside, it was snowing something, and you were like, my hair is not ready, I don't know. And then you get on and you just riff away. And I don't recall exactly what the message was. All I know is that it brought such a smile to my face, and you were so in flow in that message. And it was, Stacey came in from like outside freezing cold, like she's just in her coat, and she's like, I just got to tell you this. And it was so impactful. And it's in those moments that, could you imagine not impacting someone for the day, even if it's just one person, because you didn't show up? So we really need to stop overthinking the process and just show up. And like I always like to say, just tune out the noise.
Tune out the noise. It's so important. I think for me, we talk a lot about courage, and I love that. For me, the biggest change, or one of the most impactful thing, was recognizing that the vulnerability that comes with courage. Because as a high performer, I was just going through the motions, and I would pride myself on being courageous. And as far as not reflecting back of like what had happened, just always moving forward and picking up and being okay, whether it was getting over my divorce, moving on with a new relationship, something going on with the kids, the house, whatever the case may be. Throughout life, losing friends, it was always about just being strong and moving forward. And so when someone would say, you're courageous, I'd be like, yeah, I'm courageous. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I wasn't, because you mention for help, was someone that was willing to ask for help. And it came like, I never realized how much courage it takes to ask for help, because you have to let down that vulnerable side of like, I do believe I'm going to be okay, but I need help. And I'm finding that even right now with raising teenagers. I've been a single mom for the last 10 years, and I haven't had to ask for help. And in the last year, there's been some challenges with my oldest that we're working through things. And I've really had to lean on people for help because I don't have all the answers. And I knew that where we were going isn't somewhere we want to be. And so it's interesting to me how important being vulnerable in creating that courage is, because I think a lot of us, again, it goes back, we're just scared of not being seen in the perception that we want to be seen in. But everybody is there. And the more we can like humanize that, I think is really where the true connection comes into play.
I couldn't agree with you more on all of that. I think what comes up for me as I'm listening to you is, what would you say to somebody who has opened up and become vulnerable and exposed their deepest, darkest, and that was used against them later on, or, really not handled in an integrous way? So how does someone move past that and begin to trust again and feel safe enough to explore the possibility of being vulnerable again with another human? Because that is the quickest way to connection. I agree with you.
Yeah. And I think that this is why so many relationships fail, right? Because they're those emotional connections. We remember that hurt so vividly. And I think that this is one, again, where you really have to flex that I don't give a damn muscle and go within. So much so. And I think that, yes, we're humans, and yes, we need personal connection, but the person we need to feel most connected with is ourselves. So if we're still worrying about what had happened or how they made us feel, we don't have our power back yet.
Right.
And I know it's easier said than done, but it is really that truth of, I was listening to Neville Goddard, I was sharing before, and he said, it's not even about attracting, it's about reflecting. So if we're finding that we're getting this type of feedback back, like where is that showing up in other aspects of our lives? And what parts do we need to heal? And I'm on the verge of this like healing. Do we really have to heal, or do we just have to decide that it no longer works for us and let it go, eliminate that, and come out again as the person that we want to be, regardless if that's our current circumstance at all, and live into that?
I think it's twofold.
Yeah.
I think it can go either way. Like, people get so stuck in the healing process. I've seen it.
Yes.
Being in that space for the longest time. I spoke to this on an episode I just did where last year a situation unfolded for me. It was a gift, an incredible gift from God. And it allowed me to really sharpen my vision and see things clearly for the first time in my entire life. And I began to realize just how much the healing community keeps a lot of people, not everyone, a lot of people in looping and stuck cycles. And so I agree with you. I think the healing part of it, in a sense, is a way for avoidance for many people to keep, I'm healing right now. I'm on my healing journey. To your point, sometimes you just make a decision and you realize maybe it's an environment problem. Maybe I need to audit my environment more closely and just make that decision and stand firm in it and set a boundary and a higher standard. So I start showing up differently. So yeah, I think that the healing component is way over inflated in many ways.
And then you had asked, like, what do you need to do to trust again? I mean, things like that, right? And who are you around? Are they looking for, what was the good in that area that helps so you can heal quicker to take what you need from it and leave behind? Or are you literally getting stuck in that dopamine rush of victimhood? Like, are you more addicted to the victim or what it is that you want to create, right? And I think that, at least for me, one thing, actually Arash said it one time to me, as he said to me, Stacey, you say you've made a decision, but 70% in is still 100% out. And I was like, son of a bitch. Right. Because I think that that's where it is are you 100% committed to creating something new? Or do you say that to yourself, but then when you feel resistance, go back to, must be because I'm not healed. Must be because I still need more learning. No, it's because that's that nudge that's showing you that's just not familiar yet. So lean into that. And, but how do we do that? Again, goes back to having that courage, having that vision of what you want to be and committing to it at a level that you've never, maybe even in the past have committed to, or you may be scared, but this is where that desire for that new love has to become like your magnificent love story of this, as they said. And I would laugh because I'd be like, I don't know if you've looked at my relationship past, but like I'm a little afraid of making my goal my magnificent love story because of that shit ass luck and some of that.
But this is your new identity, so it doesn't matter.
Well, actually what I realized is the reason it hasn't been terrible luck, it has been me progressing into the woman that I need to reflect and attract the person that is really going to be complementary to creating more.
Yeah.
And so I don't look at it as they've been terrible, those relationships. They've been wonderful. Like you said, they're gifts. And through those gifts, we get to create more. But it's breaking away from, like for me, some of the beliefs I've had that I lived a checkbox life. Right? I mean, I grew up in small town Saskatchewan. It was important to go get my university degree, get your university degree, go get a job. Even for me, I didn't get married until I was 31. Now my first child till I was 32 and 33 and 37. And so even I remember my parents were like, what's wrong with you? And I thought that was like really fantastic because I did get to explore and appreciate my own life to there. But when I reflect back now, I mean, I'm here at 37, I was divorced at 40. And so I did do that because again, it was another check mark. And it was interesting to me because then we got into mindset, kind of come to this realization of, oh my goodness, am I still doing things for check marks? Like, when am I going to be enough for me? When am I going to be happy with what I've created and not feel like it's for anyone else other than me? And I wrestle with that sometimes, especially as I turned 50 this year and I set some big goals with doing my Ironman and going to Thailand. And this is kind of where it came back to this piece of resilience, is that there was this aspect that I was starting to collect things of, yay, did this. Yay, I left corporate. Yay, start my entrepreneur. Yay, these milestone things. But am I really in the flow and like appreciating it for like the growth and the impact it's creating? Or is it something for check marks? And it's something I had to ask myself. I think I was in the middle, truthfully, but I think there's something like to be said about really enjoying that journey and being fulfilled with who you are, where you're at with what you have, and then always wanting to push on to be more, but knowing that, like, seriously, the phrase I love the most is like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I realize my spiritual DNA is perfect, right? Is all-knowing, ever powerful, and it is the real me and ever present. And it is important for me this year to go deeper into my belief and in my faith, because if I truly believe some of the things that I'm saying, then it's okay, whatever happens. I am strong enough to get through it, vulnerable, will be courageous enough to learn. And through that and the impact that we're creating with people and sharing this, that's the impact we're meant to make, I believe.
You just went to a different place. It was so beautiful to watch. Like, you were so present in that entire delivery. And that's exactly, I believe, what this whole process is about. It's not controlling, not, staying so future paced or staying in the past and living in anxiety or all these fear-based thinking aspects that we create for ourselves sometimes. And it's really sinking into the present moment. And like, to me, that's where the point of power really is in the present moment. That's why they say it's a gift. The present is a gift. It's the only experience we have right now is the present moment. And so when you can really feel into that, it is so powerful. And being able to utilize that into that next step of where your vision is, right? Where you want that to unfold. So I love that you shared that. And I know that we're kind of getting down to the nitty gritty here, but I do. I would love for you to wrap up the question we started with, which was,
if I wasn't afraid of being seen in the process of trying, what would I do next? Well, it's interesting. I just want to keep doing more bolder, braver things, coming out, more collaborations with people that I love.
doing hard things. Don't you believe doing hard things really is the fast track to getting where you want to go?
Yes. Like doing the hard is important. Embracing that.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the easiest thing for some might be the hardest for you, but like find what that is and lean into it. You know, it was interesting. I was sharing, and I know we're running out of time, but I was sharing how I was in Thailand late last year helping women that had come out of human and sex trafficking. And one night we went down to the red light district. And we had wrapped about 185 little packages of condoms. We had like 3 condoms and then a paper for them to leverage and call for help if they wanted to, and then another 3. And one of this may sound really silly, but hard at that moment was going up to a stranger that I didn't know and asking her if she wanted a condom. Because I was instantly like, I don't want to make her think that I assume she is, or that, you know, I'm judging her, or all of these things. But it was really around how I would feel, not necessarily her. Well, I asked the first woman, like, condom my kai, I think is, would you like? And she literally, like, for me? I was like, yeah, for you. And she's like, thank you for my friends. And we're like, yes. And to see that, like, I know it seems little that I use this as an example of hard, but we could have easily not reached out that hand for help because we were afraid of what she might think. And when I saw her reaction and how grateful she was that somebody cared about her enough and then asked me to show all of her friends, like, I'll never be afraid to ask for another person if they need support or help again. And I think that maybe that's one of the strongest messages is like, even if she would have said, no, so what, right? We put ourselves out there. And I think that that's one of the things of doing hard. It doesn't have to be these huge momentous things. It can be as simple as you see somebody and they look like they're struggling. Just ask them for help. I mean, we literally got rid of all those condoms in like an hour and a half. And it was a little bit crazy. I wanted to go back there every night. But again, after I left there, I was like, is this even making a difference? But for that one person, it was.
And that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
It's all that matters. One person every day. Imagine that ripple effect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stacey, so much. I'm going to wrap this up real quick with a rapid fire round. And I named it Raise It with Stacey.
All right, let's roll.
This is a play on her Raise Your Results program for her coaching. All right, 20 rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Woo.
And we have 1 minute. So here we go.
Roll.
Early riser or night thinker?
I'm an early riser.
Coffee or green tea?
Coffee.
One non-negotiable morning ritual?
Meditation.
Book that changed your trajectory?
Okay. I'm going to say Pussy is an incredible book by Regina Thomas Howard. If you've never read it, I could say Signs of Getting Rich or Think and Grow Rich or something, but that book Pussy is an incredible read.
One belief you had to unlearn?
That it was more important to please my parents than myself.
Hardest habit to break?
People pleasing.
Hardest habit to build?
Doing the hard.
Solo reset or social reset?
Social.
What instantly drains your energy?
Negative people.
What instantly fuels your energy?
People like you.
A moment you felt most proud of yourself?
Moment I felt most proud of myself. You know, of recent times was crossing the finish line at my half Ironman.
A fear you've had to outgrow?
Yeah, being seen in the trying process.
One word your closest friend would use to describe you?
Ridiculous sometimes, but no, I think that they would say caring.
One word you aspire to embody more?
Bold.
If you weren't coaching, what would you be doing?
I'd be swimming with dolphins.
Beach getaway or mountain retreat?
Oh, I love them both. I'm a mountain girl, but the heat calls my name, so I got to go with beach.
Podcast or silence in the car?
Podcast.
A daily discipline you're still refining?
Making sure that I'm always writing my goals and my journaling, truthfully.
What does wealth mean to you now in one sentence?
Wealth is so much more than financial to me. It is really that alignment, being aligned and alive with your mind, your body, and your soul. For me, there's just so much with movement, mindset, and that's it for me. Moving my body and feeling one within.
And last question, 5 years from now, who are you?
An elevated version of myself. But my goal is to live for 3 months in different places, speaking around the world with you, getting up on stages with incredible people. And most importantly, I want my girls. It's very interesting. I'm going to just dive for a second. One time Bob Proctor asked me, he said, what do you want? And I instantly went into a story of talking about my girls. And he said, that's a great want, but what about you? And I honestly didn't know how to answer that, as I realized that I had stopped wanting greater than I knew what to do. And now that I've recognized that and realized that that was kind of where I was stuck, is because I wasn't dreaming bigger than what I knew how. My imagination had stopped, it's almost atrophied. That now when you ask me where I want to be in 5 years, I want to be in this place where I inspire not only myself, but it is part of my daughters, because they are my why. And so if I'm not inspiring the people I love the most, then what's it for?
Amen. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.
I love you.
I love you too. To everyone listening, if something in this episode challenged you or shifted your perspective, please share it with someone who's ready for their next level. More on Stacey, click the link in the show notes.